we played a very important role in 61 war, and that could have been a good template for 65 tri-service cooperation, which was there in 61. I mean, there were problems, but वो हुआ नहीं 65 में. तो नेवी को बहुत डिफेंसिव रोल दिया गया.
अच्छा.
And we were told not to operate north of Porbandar.
Okay.
And in that war, first of course, Navy was not involved completely in the scheme of the war and all that, sharing of intentions. Maybe it was the higher authorities' decision to keep the Navy out or keep the Navy's role limited. And at that time, Pakistan came and did a sneak attack on Dwarka in the first week of September on Dwarka. But Navy was told not to operate north of Porbandar. So it was less than 15, half an hour attack, and they achieved nothing. Some shells on the beach, nobody died, no infrastructure, nothing. But they said we, raided Dwarka and we have achieved this one. In fact, they celebrate that day still as their Navy Day.
Oh,
Now, this thing resulted in certain criticism in the press. They were not aware, common people, Navy kaha thi, kya kar rahi thi. They didn't know that name. But this made lot of people in the Navy, have a sense of anger. Ki bhai, why were we not given a chance?
Right.
Us waqt bhi nara tha, chalo Karachi, 65 mein bhi. Why were we not given a chance? So, what the naval planners, and again, this is delightful, they said, yaar, एक और मौका मिल गया तो we will not lose it. So Admiral Nanda is on record in 1969. He made a statement to Blitz newspaper saying, I assure you, if we are given a chance, we will make the biggest bonfire of Karachi. He said, I've grown up there, I know that place. Perhaps the Pakistani people were not reading the Blitz at that time. They should have gauged it. But between 65 and 71, we built up a lot of strength. We built up more ships. We were determined. We got submarines, we got missile boats, we got anti-submarine corvettes, the Petia class.
So, in some way, that was the reflection of sort of a thinking in the political class as well, that we do need to strengthen the Navy far more.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it got strengthened, the political class, and an important thing happened. The British and the Americans were playing truant, by mid-60s, aapko nahi denge, ye denge. So, by 65, 66, we went to the Russians. And that's an important chapter because you had to learn, their concept of operations, from mastery of Russian language to learning to different war fighting philosophies. But we all absorbed that. By 71, now you got good strength and you had enough time to prepare. So then that was, as I call it, our finest hour.
So talk about that now.
Yes. So the good thing is you have the background of 65. You've had some time to prepare because everyone knew that. So I think the Navy very clearly and cleverly decided that if we have to contribute substantially, then please take advantage and notice of geography. Here is West Pakistan, here is East Pakistan, and in between them is the sea. If you control the seas between them, the air route is over India, that's blocked in any case. If you control the seas, then there is no way any reinforcement from west will go to east. And since all of Pakistan's strategy was on defense of West Pakistan and reinforcing and holding east, so just as the war started, we not only attacked Karachi on 4th and 8th December and completely decimated their navy. So as it is, psychologically we put a dampener, but we captured some ships of Kochi, and East Pakistan we choked completely. Our carrier task force was there. The Vikrant attacked installations in Chalna, Khulna, Mungla, all their ports, their installations, and you captured close to 100 big, small ships, merchant ships. So stopped anything bombarded, sunk, damaged, captured, prevented.
No movement.
There was no movement into East Pakistan.
Out or in.
Out or in, So when you choke and strangulate them, it will lead to paralysis. Not one, even after they were losing, they could not escape from the sea, which is why you had these prisoners of war, 90,000 prisoners. Another interesting thing we did, and this not many people know, there's a brilliant book called Operation X written by Sandeep Unnithan and late Captain Saman, that we trained the water wing of the Mukti Bahini. Bangladeshis,
Okay.
about 400 plus people were trained to do sabotage operations inside East Pakistan. They were swimmers trained by our divers, trained to swim underwater with no fancy gear, with reeds,
Snorkel.
no snorkel
no
नहीं था,
snorkel.
through reeds underwater, taking advantage of tide. थोड़ा बहुत लोगों को fins मिला, बाद में वो भी नहीं नसीब हुआ, you know.
Sure.
So just by that, each would carry a mine, an explosive tied to his stomach, and then they would take advantage of tide and go and put that explosive on the ship's bottom and come out for it to detonate a little later. With the result, and Rahul, and this started before the war, on the 15th of August in fact.
Okay.
Before the war, more than 1,000 tons of shipping had been destroyed inside East Pakistan. That's huge. It's probably a record, you know, more than 1,000. Matlab, not only now they had wrecks inside harbor, they had nothing to go. Then insurance for people coming in started to increase. The attention of Pakistan army to protect that increase, so they were diverted from being there. In fact, General Jacob, who was the chief of staff of Army Eastern Command, he said it is the water wing which achieved more than any arm of Mukti Bahini. Their contribution was fantastic. So this is another thing, you know. So not many people know about what the Navy did in the 71 war. Navy is called the silent service, but I think we did some fantastically brilliant work at that time.
And how big was the bonfire of Karachi?
It was huge.
I mean, what does that
mean? See, what happened is, on the 4th of August, December, the day the war started, you had the Operation Trident, in which 3 ships went, and about 3 or 4 of their main ships, you know, Khyber, their destroyer, their Muhafiz, then there was a ship called Venus Challenger which was carrying ammunition for them. All of them were sunk or damaged. They say that some PNS Shahjahan was also damaged. The jury is out on that. 2 days later, in panic, the Pakis shot PNS Zulfikar. So you also achieved this collateral damage. In addition, on the 4th, the Cmde oil refinery was set on fire by the missile. So overall, you were able to achieve substantial physical and psychological damage. Now you followed this up on the 8th with Operation Python. 4th was Operation Trident, where 1 ship with 4 missiles, but 3 missiles, say it took out 3 ships, you know, the Dhaka, their tanker, other 2 merchant ships, and with the 4th one, as the refinery fires were just coming out, it again, so that formed the biggest blaze, so to say. With the result that by the 9th, the Pakistanis had called all their ships inside harbour and said de-ammunition. मतलब इसका मतलब जब आप शस्त्र और अस्त्र निकाल के तकरीबन, it's like that. Their surface force was no longer there. It was only their submarine which on next day, you know, sank Khukri, torpedoed Khukri, and that is their one success of the war. You know, otherwise by 8th they were more or less out of the war on the western front, and meanwhile the western fleet was commanding all the approaches to the Karachi harbour, so much so that all ships now entering Karachi or Pakistan were taking permission from the Indian Navy. You know, so you established this control of North Arabian Sea, you dominated them, you strangulated them, and yes, of course we lost the Khukri. You must salute the sacrifice of Captain Mullah and the crew of Khukri, because in warm waters of Indian Ocean, the submarine always has advantage. You know, so it was a kind of let's say uneven match. But again, these teach us a lot of, you know, if you want I can come to this later, but even the Khukri episode taught us important lessons